can copy of that. The medic dive boat, race boat, Donzi, the Donzi race boat, right in front of the other copy.
We don't have race boats down there.
I agree.
Center console, Donzi?
Oh, okay, that's right.
Medic dive boat,
How long did you get back? All right, okay.
I'm really seriously thinking.
That they've got going on it. They are a super boat. Their first time in the boat out here racing. Obviously, they're going to take it a little bit easy until they get their wings on, shall we say?
Yeah, the son in that case is probably what, 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here come the Super V lights to end the first lap, and this is, as we said, extraordinarily competitive. What I'm seeing is an awful lot of air, and when you see a lot of air, that's enormous stress on the drivetrains. These guys not only have to be fast, they have to be cautious and sensible, because when your prop is out of the water, two things happen. A, you lose your power, but B, your engine revs to the moon, and when you come back in, as we just saw, there's an enormous stress right through the entire drivetrain.
All right, we have Tuggett in the lead with Kevin Smith and Will Ross. Right behind them, Art Lilly and Britt Lilly coming in fast. Then right behind them is going to be the Octane boat. That's going to be Jim Simmons and Kyle Dietzen.
So as we predicted, the boats out of the Lilly shop down in Maryland have taken the lead here. A Typhoon, which was also a favorite, seems to be breaking up. He's right on his limiters. He's airborne an awful lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe these guys were all thinking that they were going to end up with a nice smooth water race and didn't realize how much they were going to be getting out of the water.
You know, it's funny, over the years, so many times people have overpropped and thought it was going to be a lot smoother than it is. Once the races start, it seems like the rough factor goes up about 40%.
Absolutely. All right, we're seeing the one of the runners in Super V Light is going to be We Haul Boats. And then I noticed now that we have the Cisco boat in Class 5 who is now taking the lead. Was Up Vapor is right behind him. And they're steady pumping another one of the SVLs. Rich, that boat sounds a little flat to me.
Yeah, very flat. He probably missed one throttle wing, and that was it. That's all it takes out here. The throttle man is very key. There are two drivers in these boats. You have a driver who actually mans the wheel and steers the boat, but the throttle man has to manage the motor, and that's especially important when the boats are airborne upon re-entry. The RPMs have to be synced just perfectly for that re-entry moment.
All right, there's Roughster on the backside on Class 5. Still running nice.
That's a brand new superboat manufactured on Long Island by John Cohn. And the superboat name has been a staple in powerboat racing going back to the 70s.
All right, let's look at this race in Super V Light. We have LSP, who is now running in front of Tuggett. They are now switched positions. Those two boats are going to be almost identical in speed. Now it's going to be depending on who's got the most, shall we say, horsepower.
That's a surprising turn there because there was quite a margin between the Tuggett boat and the LSP boat going southbound, but the Lilies, as we said, they're very, very cagey and so experienced.
Absolutely. Here's your front runner in class number 7 coming across.
And that's Whoa Mama.
Whoa Mama.
Whoa Mama. Whoa Mama's driven by Kyle Miller and Jay Woltman. It's an activator boat. An activator also built on Long Island. Long Island has been a mecca of powerboat manufacturing and race boat manufacturing for decades.
Absolutely. Probably after Southern Florida, I think that's probably our biggest manufacturer for these kind of boats.
Absolutely.
Now what you're seeing is a couple of Class 7 boats. Notice that they're getting way far out of the water, but quite frankly, these guys seem to be very well in control, even in the small boats. Look at the race up here. We've got, who's on top of them? Let's see, we've got a Super V Light. Can't quite make out who that is out on the back side of the course. Yep. The conditions today have turned out to be just fantastic. We have fairly light winds coming in off the ocean. We have a rising tide, which means that the winds and the tides are not going to work against each other. This has left a very nice course out here for all of these boats. Yes, it's a little rough, but I mean, that's where you're really going to earn your stripes. Now look at this race between Tuggett and Lilly. They are dead even.
So much for partnership out of that shop. Those two guys are going at it. That's hammer and tong. What a race. Yeah. Something must have happened to Tuggett in that south turn on the last lap because they gave up an enormous amount of distance to the Lilies.
Yep, absolutely. And Will Ross, who's driving that boat, it's just, I mean, he's as good as they're going to come. He's got so many hours in that boat. But you never know. You just, it just takes one bobble and you could be, you could lose a couple of places out here.
One of the things that I'm seeing is because the way the wind is coming on shore, and the way the waves are bouncing back off the beach, it's a very inconsistent chop right now. There are big holes out there, and you can't see them. Very hard to read. I'm seeing the drivers get huge air and then run smoothly for maybe 200-300 yards, and then man, the bottom drops out.
Absolutely. Well, part of that is being driven by the boats too. Now, right here, we got in your screenshot right now, we've got Was Up Vapor. They're in Class 5. They're running currently 2nd. Nick Smith, who's moved up a class, obviously he's very well read in that boat, so he's going to be able to put on a good show for us today.
The story in that class right now is that boat, the Was Up 2, and the leader, the Cisco. Those two boats have pulled really far away from the rest of the fleet. We've also lost the Bat boat. Haven't seen that in a lap or two.
In your screen right now is We Haul Boats. I believe they are in 5th place in SVL. Running strong. That's a new boat for them too. They've moved up a couple of classes and bought a new boat, so we wish them the best.
One of the things that the viewers have to bear in mind is not everybody is racing flat out. Because of these conditions, because of all the jumping, and because of all the strain on the drivetrain, some teams elect to hold back at the beginning knowing that a lot of the leaders or some of the leaders will break. Or at least
Absolutely.
betting
Now
on it.
take a look at this. Typhoon is starting to move on Octane over on the backside. We've got a nice race developing back over there. So maybe as the boat's lightening up, it's feeling better, and they're going to try and take a little time.
Yeah, and Typhoon, again, that's Randy Schluss. He's got all that experience. He knows what he's dealing with, and nothing surprises him. He's got a race plan for the whole race, not just the first lap or two.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. Here what's going to happen is you're going to have a little bit of attrition. You've got the ocean out here. Look at the Cisco boat. They're running right up on top of those Super V lights. That's pretty impressive for a Class 5 boat.
You know, the Cisco boat might just win this thing overall. I'm not sure they can catch Tuggett, but other than that, they are probably the second or third fastest boat out there.
Now remember that Cisco boat is limited, however, to speed. So if he breaks out of his GPS speed, then he has another issue.
You know, the GPS classes, it seems to me when you get a rough water race, you kind of throw the GPS out the window because you can't maintain the speed that breaks out to begin with. So this becomes a true boat race as you're managing these ocean conditions.
Absolutely, and we see this when we go to the smooth water races, that we do have a lot of breakouts. Out here in the ocean, it looks like it's just they can run hard out. They're never going to accelerate to the point where they're going to break out. And so it gives them a chance to really experience just, right to the wall racing.
We should also talk about the spectators right now. There's a huge crowd on the beach, on the pier here. The boardwalk is lined. The spectator count has to be close to 100,000 people.
Absolutely. It is a great turnout today. Obviously, the weather has helped that a lot. Looks like I've got Tuggett, and I don't see the Lily boat. I'm going to have to take a look and see if we can figure out where they got to, because I don't see the Lily boat anywhere near them. But Tuggett looks like they're running nice and smooth, nice and calm, got it pretty flat, and they are not hitting that rev limiter too much as they go by us here.
Yeah, Tuggett is definitely on a mission. They have whoa, that was some shot. And again, they do it. It's extraordinarily rough right here off the pier. Something is definitely kicking back right here because it's choppier here than anywhere else.
Yeah, there are some bottom contours that will change. What we find out here.
Whoa, there's the bat boat. It's not gone. It's up with the Super V lights. It's way out in front in class number 4. I'm sorry, class 5.
Yeah, but here's Cisco coming right in behind him. I think he was down for a little bit to get it restarted.
Yeah. He's actually down again.
All right, so right now in Super V Light we have Typhoon, who's now in third, and he's moving up. He's moved around Octane. Obviously, he's got a long way to go to catch that Tuggett boat.
Yeah, the Tuggett boat is well in command, and I do not see the Lilies. Attrition is going to be a true factor here today.
I'm gonna grab the binoculars here, Rich, see if we can figure out where they got to, because it looks like we've got a couple of boats down in the center of the course. Probably have to take a little bit of inventory here in a little bit. And that's going to be the story here today, because you're not going to run this race without breaking a few boats.
Yeah, and I think we've broken quite a few already. I mean, it looks like we're down probably 30% from the starting fleet already after only a couple of laps.
And it looks like I've got Was Up Vapor in the middle of the course. It looks like they're down now. So they went from leading all the way down, and now it looks like they've had a break too.
There's an old saying in racing, in order to finish first, you must first finish. And today is a real test. These seas can only mean a lot of broken equipment.
Absolutely. We haul boats in front of us now. It should be, if I'm doing this right, is probably now in third place.
The fleets are starting to mix up now as certain classes lap other classes, and then some of the boats are moving right up through classes. So, but all of them that are left are running pretty strong.
Yep, they're steady pumping, and Rustard, now they're not in the same class, but it looks like they're giving them a nice little run for the money. That boat is probably strong enough to run with the Super V lights, although remember, he is also limited by speed by his GPS.
Yeah. Well, these sea conditions, I don't know if any of them are exceeding maybe 70 miles an hour right now, and the outboards are probably down in the mid to low 50s.
Yeah, they're never going to be able to get up to their top speed, certainly, and in these conditions, to be able to maintain a 45 or 50 mile an hour lap is actually doing pretty good, no matter how big a boat you're in today.
Yeah.
And obviously, these are some of the smaller boats that we're going to be running here today, so they're going to be a little bit more challenged, regardless of the conditions.
And back to Jay Muller's question, yeah, he's crazy.
Well, it's running those little 21 and 22 foot boats and what remind you have back issues and side issues and knees and elbows and all the rest of it.
He stepped out of a state-of-the-art 140 mile an hour 42 foot boat or 40 foot boat, and he's in a 21 foot single engine outboard with his son. He's crazy.
I spoke with one of the guys from the Holland Trash Boat yesterday, and I said, so what did you do to prepare the boat? He said, well, I put a lot of foam in it. All right, here we have your leader in SVL, Tuggett. That Phantom is running fantastic. Will Ross and Kevin Smith have it dialed in. Right now, there is no one even close to him. Obviously, they can't let up. They're going to have to run their race from this point forward, but right now it looks like that boat is hanging tough.
Tuggett's a personal favorite of mine. We have a champion Rottweiler named Tug, and we've exchanged correspondence. Tug took 3 best of breeds this weekend, and here's Tuggett out front.
Absolutely.
It's a good day for the tugboats.
That's fantastic. And by the way, that is Kevin Smith's business. His family owns tugboats and that type of thing, and they do barges and all the rest of it. So that's where the Tuggett actually comes from. There's Cisco. That is your leader in class number 5. It is a super boat being driven by, I believe, John Cohen Jr. and Eddie Simmons.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, if you consider where they started and where they are right now, they are running identical lap times to Tuggett.
Yeah, that's very true. And actually a little bit in front of Typhoon, who's our second place in SVL right now.
That noise you hear is Typhoon on its limiters. There's an ignition limiter in those boats that keeps the revs down when they become airborne, and they're going right on those limiters right now.
Absolutely. And of course, some of that is just the guys are throttling the boats as best they can, but you can only run with this so much. And when the seas are so confused, every once in a while you need a little bit of electronic, little electronic throttle man helping you out there.
Here come your outboard leaders, the Class 7 leaders, and they are having quite a race.
Yep, they're looking good out there, though. Actually, both those boats are looking nice and solid for being as small as they are out in these conditions. The one thing about those boats is with those outboards on them, the outboards tend to be very, very reliable.
Last night, they were all putting ballast in the bows of their boats, up to 300 pounds in some cases. And they need that to keep those boats balanced because they are airborne so much, and these seas are so big for them.
Absolutely. You're going out. All right, we see Tuggett running on the backside there. Yeah. Running in front of us right now is Angel 1, the helicopter. Oh, we don't have that on the air, though. I really want to thank these helicopter pilots and these divers and everything out here who spend the whole time wetsuited up and ready to go in case somebody goes into the water. Without their help and without the work they do, it would be very, very difficult for us to have these races, and certainly they wouldn't be safe.
Well, because the race is kind of racing is kind of in flux right now. It takes all these volunteers, all their efforts, every race to make these things happen. You know, the sponsorships will come as you get more and more competition. But right now, the budgets are such that without the volunteers, there would be no offshore racing. And God bless each and every one of them.
Absolutely. And, speaking of volunteers, we're up here with Racecom over to the side of us. And, all these guys are here, in essence, working for free. Most of them are some type of safety professional or some type of professional that certainly could be doing something else on a day like
to get your feet wet and see what it's like to get out there and have some fun.
Well, and as Ted mentioned during the race, there's also the opportunity through Reindl to lease a bat boat for a race, go out with an experienced throttle person, and get a taste for it that way. So you don't even have to invest to get a taste for it. You can do a 1 or 2 race schedule, see if you like it, see how much. And those bat boats are very forgiving.
Now, guys, that's been a fantastic plug for getting people into racing. I'm going to be, for once in my life, the voice of reason. You will never, ever go away from it, and it will cost you millions of dollars by the time you're done because you just want to go faster and faster and have a great time. But no, seriously, it really does. It gets into your blood. We keep coming out here. We have a great time. It's like family. They always talk about the Jersey boys and the OPA being like family, and it really, truly is. And I've spent well over 10 years with this organization, and just to come out and spend a weekend, and it's true sportsman racing. It's where people are out there, and you know what? If I need a piece for my motor, I know that the guy who's probably going to lend it to me, it probably is competing against me. But he's more than happy to give me something to make sure that we've had a situation where a team gave up a motor, an entire spare motor, to another team, and that team went out and beat them. So when something like that happens, it's beyond all of the rest of the hoopla that goes on with a lot of the more commercialized sports, and it comes down to it that this is something that it's true sportsmen out there who are really racing for their own medal and for their own self-satisfaction as much as anything else, and to show what they've got.
Ted, it's interesting you say that. At the drivers' meeting the other day when we were up briefing the drivers on Saturday morning, we had a Class 7 team there, brand new to the sport, and they actually showed up with the boat on the trailer, the engine in the back of their truck, the steering wheel in the front seat of their truck, and said, if anybody's got any spare time in the pits today, can you help us put our boat together? And you know what? I saw them working on the boat yesterday, and like you said, the camaraderie and the sportsmanship of helping each other out is just first class.
Absolutely. The boat that won today, Cisco, at a race down at our event in Maryland, blew a motor on Saturday in testing, and all of his competing boats, literally from each of the Class 5 boats, there was probably one guy from each who were helping him. They got a tow truck, they pulled his motor out, they got another motor, they got the motor in, they got it all rigged up, and he actually, I think he came in second or third. It wasn't one of these Cinderella stories where he took first place. But I mean, to think about that, at 11 o'clock at night, they've all got a race the next morning, and they're all helping this guy wrench on his boat. It's true, like I said, it's sportsmanship that's taken beyond where many times, unfortunately, sports in today's market are completely taken over by the money and by the business of it. And I understand that there has to be some of that, but when you can get out and do something because you love it, that's makes it all worthwhile.
Well, and you very much have the sense here that all these racers here want to come out and beat you. They don't want to win through attrition. They don't want to win because they're the only boat in the class or there are two boats in the class. They want to come out and beat you. And if that means helping you get on the water so they can beat you, that's what they're going to do. And the camaraderie, and as cliche as it sounds, the sense of family here on the Jersey Shore is just amazing. Between the New Jersey Performance Powerboat Club and the Jersey Boys, over the years, gotten to know a lot of those folks, and just big-hearted, wonderful, crazy racing individuals.
The serious side of this, for those of you who are thinking about this, safety is always top priority. So don't think you just come out here and flail around and risk your life. It's not about that. There are very, very strict safety standards. The first thing that's inspected is your cockpit, your helmet, your jacket, fire suppression systems, the hull strength, and so on. So we do take that very, very seriously. It has always been the highest priority. And
yeah, if we could,